So there's an old mountain climber, his name's Yvonne. I'll probably butcher his last name, but I think it's Gennard. And he says that adventure is a time when everything goes wrong. So my adventure is a little bit like that. So to set the story, for the last year I worked at a boarding school for young men who, for lack of a better term, were just super pissed off all the time. And my job was to take these super pissed off young men into the woods for 3 to 4 days. So we were supposed to take these young men over to Sam's Knob, which is close to here. Some of you all might have been there. And we get them on the bus, which is a feat in itself. You know, I think they were specifically designed to hate anyone who told them what to do. That was me. So they were really angry at me all the time. But we got them off the bus, and we're hiking down towards Sam's Knob, and they're really angry. They hate backpacking. You know, this is bullshit. I can't believe we have to walk this far. By this time, it had been about a quarter of a mile. And, they're telling me what a terrible person I am. You make us do this. You ruin our lives. This is your fault. You sent us here. No? Okay, sure. Yeah, sorry. My bad. So we walk along, and we get down next to Flat Laurel Creek. And every trained wilderness professional like myself knows, don't camp next to water. But these kids had been complaining to me for about an hour and a half, and we'd gone about a mile. Not very fast. And I was like, sure, here's a campsite. We're next to Flat Laurel Creek. It looked pretty. We're next to water. I said, sure, we'll camp here. So we start setting up camp, and the boys are taking their time. Get tent set up. I'm hanging back. I don't set things up. I like to get as far away from the boys as I can. They're kind of scary. But they set up, and they get done. I look around, and I say, guys, we got gear. We got gear all over the place. You know, you should probably put this away. If it starts raining, you're all screwed. And I won't use their exact language, but they informed me that I could go have sex with myself. So I thought about that for a second. It sounded pretty good, but there was young men around, and that didn't really go well together. So I said, sure, cool, don't pack it up. And 5 minutes later, Mother Nature, my very best friend, opened up and started pouring rain. I'm ecstatic. So good. And I can't say anything yet, because I'm a professional. So the boys are scrambling, and they're getting in their tents, and I'm just watching with my raincoat already on, gear all packed up, nicely dry. And they're scrambling and scrambling. They all get in their tents, and they're just screaming and cursing at me again. It's my fault it's raining, of course. I didn't mean to make it rain. I think I sneezed wrong. But they're just yelling, Joe, you son of a bitch. Oh, it's wet. Why didn't you? Et cetera, et cetera. And I'm happily out in my raincoat, and I just start dancing because I'm so happy that these little bastards are paying for yelling at me, and all their gear is getting wet. So I'm dancing, I'm having a great time, you know, and as I'm watching the rain fall, it's pouring rain, I'm watching the rain fall, and there's just water getting on the campsite floor, just higher and higher. But I'm not paying attention because I'm so stoked that they're paying the price for being so terrible. So I'm finding any bits of gear that I can and just like reverse slam dunking it into puddles, and like throwing shoes into puddles, and you know, soaking all their gear, just having a great time. They're all in their tents, they didn't see any of it. You know, precious journals. Woo, Kobe into the puddle. Ooh, he scores. Journal in the puddle. I was stoked. Anyway. And there's a creek, again, right next to our campsite. So I'm playing in the creek. I don't know if any of you have spirit animals, but mine's an otter. So I'm playing in the creek. I'm an otter. I love the water. Yes, nature. And I come back up, and I'm watching, you know, again, just so triumphant. And a little time passes, and it's still raining. It's been like 30 or 40 minutes. And I go back down again, another victory lap into the creek. I'm an otter. Oh shit, that water is at my knees. Before it was at my ankles. This is bad. So I look at my co-staff. I said, man, I think the river's going to flood. He's like, yeah. What made you think that? I said, well, it's come up, you know, about a foot in about 30 minutes. This probably isn't good. And it's continuing to rain. So we tell the boys, you got to pack up. We're leaving. And they're pumped, ecstatic. Hell yeah, we're getting out of here. One young man is so very happy. He decides to huck all of his gear into the raging flash flood. And another one sees it. He's like, hell yeah, I don't want to carry it either. Another sleeping sleeping bag into the river. So now we're down 2 sleeping bags. All of a sudden I see a blanket flying. I'm like, oh God, I gotta get this under control. So we get the children to stop hucking gear into the river. Because I told them, I was like, look guys, this situation's bad. This is bad. Tell you what, we'll just go back to the bus. This one's on me. I'm sorry. You know, and they're pumped. So happy we're going back. And in the midst of this, another group had came upon us and they said, our campsite's flooded. We've never led a trip before. What do we do? And I'm like, well, just keep your kids here. We'll get it figured out. While I'm also trying to have my young men, who are very hateful and angry and like just spewing curse words, to pack up their stuff and not throw it in the river, which to them was a good idea. So they're like, oh, great, thanks so much for helping us, and they disappear. So now we have 10 more children huddled under a tarp, and they're like 8 or 10 years old, and they're obviously not happy. And you'd be surprised the mouths that 8 or 10-year-olds have too. A lot of cursing going on, and I'm in the middle of it. But I thought, okay, here's my time. I'm gonna be a hero, save these young people, and we're gonna get out of this floodplain. It's gonna be great. So we get that situation wrangled, finally find their staff, get them back to their kids. Said, okay, boys, I checked the map. We're getting out of here. So we hike along, and we go back, and we had crossed a river coming in, which is also a bad sign at this point. And we get back to the river, and I'm trudging along, and it's still pouring rain. It had been pouring rain now for about 3 straight hours. We trudge along, kids are happy, and we get to the creek, and it's not the same little creek that it used to be. It is now a Class 5 river. This is bad. So I turn and calmly explain to the boys, we can't go back. Obviously, they're not happy. Again, screaming, more deer flies into the river. Boys, if we can't go back, you need that. Here you go, Joe. Wow, gear in the river. So I look at the map again. I'm beginning to panic, but I can't show that again because I'm a professional, so I'm looking at the map. Cool, there's another way out. We'll just follow this trail. It's fine. I got this, boys. We're good. I'm saving the day. Here we go. So we start hiking back along the other way. We pass our campsite. It's now a foot underwater. The trail itself is shin deep. The river is still coming up. This is bad. And we're hiking along. I'm like, cool, this is great. We're going right back up to the bus, and we hit another river. Where did this come from? This is not good. I checked the map, and conveniently, thank you, National Geographic, the trail number that marks the trail is conveniently placed over another river crossing. Now we're trapped. I've got 10 boys who were already pissed, then pissed again, now realizing that we're trapped in a floodplain, and it's 10:30 and nobody's eaten dinner, and we're all soaked. They're not happy. At this stage, I'm full on panicking. This is really bad. We're either going to hike, where are we going to sleep? Oh my God, I'm freezing cold. These kids are so mad. I'm going to get stabbed in my sleep. I don't know what to do. My co-staff were very helpful. I'll have to give them some credit, but none of us really knew what to do. So we just hiked along until we found a flat spot next to the river. And we had another 3 or 4 feet of play before the river got to that spot. And I said, look, man, let's just get them in sleeping bags, and we'll stay up all night and watch the river. So that's what we were going to do. And I knew that the safety of the children trumps my own, which really isn't true. It sounds cold, but how can I lead a group if I'm dead, right? Anyway, I digress. We decide to be heroic again, and we lend, all of a sudden my ground pad goes to a child who threw his in the river. My co-staff's sleeping bag goes to a child who threw his in the river. Our tent goes to a child. Our tarp goes to a child. Our ground plastic, a child. Everybody's warm, they're all bundled up, the river is still rising yet slower, and the kids finally go to sleep. Great, they're asleep. They can't talk when they're asleep. This is really nice. But we look back at our packs, and we don't have any gear left. And now it's been raining for about 6 hours. The river finally stopped coming up, so we were out of flood trouble, but we needed to sleep. We didn't have anything. But lo and behold, the group that we saved earlier found us again. And their kids were also unhappy. So we finally put all of them, made a nice taco out of 2 tarps, gave them another tarp, gave them a tarp. Tacoed 12 little children in a tarp. They were safe and sound. Their staff went to bed in nice tents. I look at my co-staff, and now we have literally nothing. Well, where are we going to sleep? He says, I don't know. So we go to them. I said, you guys got anything we can sleep under? And they said, yeah, we got one tarp. Great. We're in a flat piece of land. What are we going to set that up on? Nothing. I said, cool. You got any plastic we can sleep on? She said, yeah, we got ground tarps. I said, oh, perfect. She hands me this stack of white plastic. It's about this big. And then she leaves and goes to sleep. And my staff and I pull out this plastic, and it's literally 6 pieces of 1 by 1 square feet of plastic. I looked at him and said, man, what the hell are these for? He says, I don't know, to sit on? I said, oh shit, okay. Let's put them together. I said, what do you got left? And he says, nothing. He said, what do you got? I said, I got a sleeping bag. I said, cool, we got a sleeping bag, tarp, 6 1 square foot pieces of plastic. This is bullshit. So we take our little squares and we fashion a 2-body person, or a 2-body length square patch on the grass and pull the tarp over us in an attempt to go to sleep. It's literally the most miserable night I've ever spent in the woods at this point. It's still raining. I've been in the rain for 6 hours, 5, 6 hours. He's also soaked. And we start out about this far apart. And as the night goes on, I'm having full body shiver attacks. Also spasming cramps up my body. And I wake up one time, my right leg cramps, knee to my chest, hamstrings gone. Oh God, this is bad. So I straighten that one back out. Left leg goes, cramp. Oh, also bad. Stretch back out, lower back cramps, full body cramp. I'm in a lot of pain. Kristoff looks at me, he's like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah. And the next thing I know, he says, oh, and both of his legs go too. So we're just shivering convulsively under this tarp on our little pieces of plastic soaking wet, freezing. And as the night continued on, I noticed that we were getting a little bit closer as things kept moving on. And I'm just still shivering and super miserable and not ready to just snuggle with a man. Not yet. I've been in bad places, but I haven't been in man snuggle territory. And the next thing I know, I go and I cramp again, and I'm kind of whimpering like a little child. I'm not proud of that, but it happens. And I'm whimpering and cramping, and all I feel is him just roll over and place his back on mine. And the warmth poured over me. And I was like, oh. And I had a choice. Do I continue shivering and cramping, or do I embrace this hero? So I did what any survivalist should, and turned around and snuggled him closely. And we stopped shivering. He said, man, it's 6 o'clock, the sun comes up in an hour. I said, I can't wait. The sun begins to come up. I said, oh, it's warm, I'm going to sleep for 2 hours. Haven't slept at all yet. And I awoke to 10 young boys standing over our tarp. They ripped the tarp off. Hey, homos! Let's get the fuck out of here. Please let me sleep. And at this point, they're literally kicking us. We go back to school. Everything's fine. The river dropped. We get back. And I tell my boss this harrowing tale of how heroic we are saving these young men's lives. And he just looks at me and says, don't you know better not to camp next to water?